Not a debate, okay? With that being said, there are no disparaging remarks to one another. You can't rebut what the other candidate said. It's just your words, your opinion on the issue. I want to make that very clear. This is not a debate. Also, all the questions that have been submitted have come from residents of Frio County. We do not say their name because we told them that it would be anonymous, and we want to respect that. With that being said, there were only 5 questions submitted. So that is the questions that will be asked. Some are directed to them entirely. Some are just precinct 1, some are precinct 3, and then some are just for the sheriff. And I will make that clear when I ask that. As far as the candidates, Mr. Vela, Mr. Gonzalez, and Ms. Camacho are all running against Mr. Cuellar for precinct 1. Mr. Vela is currently the incumbent commissioner. Mr. Vela and Mrs. Camacho did respectfully decline to attend today due to prior arrangements. Mr. Gonzalez was set to attend, but he had a family emergency. And then we have sheriff candidates, Peter Salinas and Albert De Leon. Mr. De Leon did not return an answer back. And then we have precinct 3, the incumbent Raul Carizales, and he's running against Edward Carizales. Mr. Carizales just called me and he's sick. He was going to attend, but he's not today. So the way it starts off is they will each get 3 minutes to introduce themselves. I will ask a question. They only have 2 minutes to respond, and then a 2-minute closing, and I do time it, okay? I would like to thank Matthew Aguilar from Maverick Technology Services. Without him, we would not be able to live stream this, so thank you, Matthew. He was here early. He set all this stuff up. We really appreciate you. So we will start. Mr. Cuellar, if you would like to go first, you can introduce yourself and whatever you'd like to say in your first 3 minutes.
Hello? Okay. Greetings, everyone. Today and every day, I would like to start by thanking our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me the strength and resources to push forward in a positive direction. My primary goal for seeking the position of Frio County Commissioner, Precinct 1, is not only so that I may effectively observe, collaborate, and present reasonable solutions to agenda dealing with our county government, but also to make sure it aligns with the best interests of our taxpayers. I am a firm believer that a team like our County Commissioners Court is only as strong as their weakest link. This standard should be upheld by individuals that have demonstrated leadership skills and also the ability to present viable solutions. I humbly ask that you trust me with this responsibility by voting and appointing me, Luis Cuellar, as your Frio County Commissioner, Precinct 1, in order to serve you. Thank you.
Now we'll have Mr. Salinas.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here, and you guys watching at home. My name is Pedro Salinas, Peter. I'm the son of the late Rogelio Salinas and my late mother, Elvia Villarreal Salinas. I'm married to the beautiful lady there in the back row, with her parents, Jesse and Connie Garcia. I spent my life here in Frio County. I've lived here my entire life. I graduated Pearsall High School in 1998. I attended the Law Enforcement Academy in San Antonio. Came back home in 2004, started working for the Pearsall PD as a patrol officer. From 2004 to 2020, I worked with the Pearsall Police Department, and I did everything that could possibly be done in a police department. And when I say that, I mean I started off on patrol, worked my way up to investigations. Within some time, I became the lead investigator and now in charge of all criminal investigations. Before leaving the city of Pearsall briefly to become the inaugural chief of police for the Pearsall Independent School District Police Department. Had a hand in creating that department, and upon meeting all the state regulations and requirements, I was able to take over as chief of police for that office. Shortly thereafter, I returned to the city of Pearsall and was named their chief of police. I spent about 6 years there as their chief of police before being recruited over to the sheriff's office by the then sheriff-elect Mike Morris, who's our current sheriff now. For the last 3 years, that's where I've been working. That's what I've been trying to make a better case for. We've had several successes. We've as you can see with our open county jail, equipment that our officers were lacking for many, many years, our deputies, and the training and protocols that are now in place that really had been kind of ignored for a long time. I ask for your vote to be the next sheriff of Frio County. There's one thing I know how to do, and that is law enforcement, and that is to run an agency to the best of its abilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carrizales?
Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm going to start off real quick. Whenever I'm out on the streets campaigning, this is one of the things I hand out, and I want to read the first line. If anybody here is in the military or prior military, they'll understand. I live every day by my military core values as a son, husband, father, brother, and commissioner. Military core values is an acronym we use, leadership, LDRSHIP, which stands for loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. I was raised in a household where those values meant something. The Army drove that point home for me. It is who I am and who I will continue to be, no matter the outcome of this election. I am your commissioner, and I hope to continue to be your commissioner for as long as you want me here. I want to touch on a few things that have been going on in Precinct 3. There have been 2 completed drainage studies, one for County Road 1520 and one to cover the entirety of the North Pearsall area. Have worked with the city of Pearsall to identify drainage issue areas, which have led to the ability to apply for grants to cover the costs. There have been 2 fully reconstructed roads, which are Moore Street and Armadillo Road. 2 more have been budgeted for this year, with 1 additional to be seal coated. We have also established an interlocal agreement with the city of Pearsall to allow county workers and equipment to work on city roads. Some roads have been identified. 1 has been completed, which is South Moreno. We also have a culvert replacement project, which is going on now. 2 have been completed, and 3 are in the works as we speak. A speed hump replacement project has been started, and we still have a few more to go in Precinct 3. The North Pearsall Safety Light Project has laid the groundwork for other precincts to get safety lights in their areas. Up to this point, we have successfully put up 19 lights and are still working on a few more. Conversations have also begun with the city of Pearsall for a possible interlocal agreement to light up Power Plant Road. More updates will come. It may be a while before that does happen. For the last year, I've also been working with the City of Pearsall Code Enforcement Officer to identify trouble lots within the city limits and get them cleaned up. We have seen some progress. There are many more great things coming our way. These are just a few that I wanted to cover for Precinct 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think I failed to mention, so there's going to be 3 questions that are for all of you. So the first one will start with Mr. Cuellar, so you'll have a chance to speak first. The next one will start with Mr. Salinas and end with you. So each of you will have a chance to speak first and speak last, okay? All right, so here's the very first question. And this one you guys have 2 minutes to respond to. Should new resources become available, what is one area of county services you feel most needs additional resources?
With the new resources being available, I would think priority would be on our infrastructure. I think some of the county roads that have been in pretty bad shape are still in bad shape currently. Talks have been discussed and mentioned about fixing them, but they have still yet to be fixed. I know it's a long process to get it done, but I would make that a priority. Second, I would think EMS also. EMS is a big topic. I understand we're in need of better services around the county, and that would be another thing that I would like to focus on, to try to strengthen that up a little bit. Because with what we have right now, it could always be, with more resources, we could have more units available in this area.
Okay. You want to repeat that question for me?
Sure. Should new resources become available, what is one area of the county services you feel needs the additional resources?
Well, I am running for sheriff, so I'm always going to lean towards what I believe is most important for a community. And I think these are great ideas that the commissioner had here. But for me, it's law enforcement. first and foremost, public safety so that you can rest your heads at night. And that, with that, comes the fact that our jail is about 40 years old now. It was in a state of major disrepair when we came and took office. It took the current sheriff, over 35 years of experience, and myself over 23 years of experience, and the contacts that we've made over a career that allowed for us to get that facility up and running. And I can tell you, it was a monumental task, and it wasn't nothing that I did or sheriff did. It took a concerted team effort with numerous elected officials, senators, and of course the jail commission itself, actually coming down and sitting down with us and explaining to us how we could make this successful. Now, that being said, we utilized grant funding to get this jail open. We applied for a grant. We were able to receive over $1.2 million. That was all put into the jail to get it going and to create new jobs, jailer positions that were required. We started off with 48 beds. We now are up to 96 beds, and we're up and running. It's only a matter of time before our jail, again, goes into disrepair, a state of disrepair, and it's not through any type of neglect or failure, but just because of age and the fact that things wear down, things have an end-of-life expectancy. I do think it's important, and I don't...
Mr. Salinas, your time is up.
Thank you.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
No,
Got it?
I'm good.
Okay.
Chief, yes, of course, anything that we can get for law enforcement to expand the jail and the sheriff's office would be tremendously appreciated. Infrastructure as well. We have over 260 miles of county roads in Frio County, somewhere around that area, and I think that if we could get funds to improve these roads and make them last a little bit longer, it'd be greatly appreciated as well. Drainage is a big problem in Frio County, which is something that we have actually been working on with the Nueces River Authority. I believe we should be getting around $2.8 million in grants, which was over a year in the making. Another area would be low income or elderly assistance. With the elderly, there is typically times where they cannot go out and attend these functions that we have in various areas. So something where we could actually have someone go out there and visit them and find out where or what they need in assistance would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the next one is for all three of you again, and we'll start with Mr. Salinas. What is your experience with preparing or authorizing budgets?
Okay, I think it's a great question. My experience began as the captain of administrative offices at the Pearsall PD, where I operated as second in command for a time, and then actually became the chief of police. So I have quite a bit of experience in that. So that counts for about 8 years of my career with the city of Pearsall. And then, of course, the 3 years that I've been here with the sheriff's office since coming in, the sheriff has allowed me to maintain and monitor that budget. We came in with a budget that we feel was it was a pretty big budget, and you would think that that's something you come in and you look at and you're excited to have, but we saw a lot of bloat, we saw a lot of waste, a lot of areas that could be streamlined, and we've been able to reduce the sheriff's budget from the day we took office to today by approximately $1 million. All that while opening the jail, creating new jobs, and operating this jail to its fullest potential at the moment. We were a 72-hour lockup facility before that. So all this money, over $700,000 alone, were being shipped out to neighboring counties because we could not house inmates here. So all these counties had this flush of money coming in, and we were just handing them out money, saying, here's money. Take these prisoners. When we opened this jail, all that was cut, reduced, and put into savings. And we're operating now, and I think providing better services than have ever been provided, more staffing than we've ever had, and all that with a reduction in budget. So That's my experience with budget. Thank you.
You want to repeat it? Okay. What is your experience with preparing and authorizing budgets?
Very well. I want to say my first introduction into prepping a budget would have to be in the Army. My biggest obstacle there would have been prepping for deployment for combat in Iraq. We had to prep an entire battalion with replacement parts for vehicles to keep them running, meals, water, those sorts of things. And it would be for an unexpected amount of time. After that, prepping for county budget, what helped me was attending Commissioner's Court for over 3 years prior to my election, and then the entire year after, to see how county budget worked, how county government operated, and being able to carry that over into my position now as a county commissioner and establishing a budget for the county. Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat it? Please. Sure. What is your experience with preparing or authorizing budgets?
I would say with budgeting, it all started when I was employed with a major corporation in town that was brought into Frio County by previous commissioners and judge, which is the GEO Group. From there, I was one of 2 employees that started a second company with a $15 million budget. It was a vice president and myself, local person, and was moved up directly to corporate, Boca Raton, Florida. So us 2 employees, a vice president and myself, we managed a $15 million budget. Immediately went into hiring individuals, over 500 people we hired, supervisors underneath us and whatnot, across the nation, from Seattle, Tacoma, all the way to Florida and New York. Everything in between. 3 regions I was in charge of. With $15 million, we also provided transportation buses, which was $250,000 each bus. The fancy buses that everybody was seeing here in town, black and white ones, I had to purchase 72 of those. So, and then stretching them across the nation. Big budget. I'm very happy to say that the major prisoner transport operations throughout Texas and the nation was GEO Transport Incorporated at one time, and that was because of what I had to put in place. Very proud of that. You still see those buses in town. That corporation is still managing from something that I set up 15 years ago. So I would think that's a substantial amount of money to deal with, and the liberty to be able to do what I needed to get it done. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question for all 3 of you. Mr. Calizales? There is a lack of countywide animal control and an uptick in stray animals being dumped outside city limits. This needs to be addressed. How would you address it?
This is actually something that has been brought before Commissioner's Court numerous times. We have discussed it. The last 2 budgets, we have not been able to incorporate it into the budget as of yet, but we have been speaking to the sheriff and Chief Salinas about what we can do to possibly remedy this situation. If we can come up with funds, possibly from a grant, or find them in the budget somewhere to hire someone who can be a full-time animal control officer, that is something that we would definitely entertain, something that we can possibly do. But as I said, this is something that has been talked about before, and we are in favor of doing it. We just need to find the resources and the capability to do it. Thank you.
Mr. Cuellar, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
I would have to say with dealing with that firsthand, we live right here 2 blocks away. We have a barbecue place right across the street where all the cats and dogs like to hang out. We see them all the time. I would have to shoot towards hiring professional help by any means, whatever means we've got to. They get out of hand. It's a huge liability for the county and the city for anything to happen if we allow all these strays in town and not take care of the problem. If we've got to prioritize that issue It is out of control. I've got to say, it is out of control. There's a lot of dogs and cats all over town. Another thing I would like to say is that we need to enforce the spay and neuter program, and possibly talk to our local vets and see if we can incorporate something, discounts and whatnot, and try to enforce that a little bit more so we can stop the breeding process of the ones that are out there. But yes, definitely seek the means to make that happen. And by grants or anything that we need to get done, we need to prioritize that.
I'm glad somebody asked that question. It's something that for the past 3 years we've been trying to get something done, again with the assistance from the commissioners and county judge. Again, I'm going to have to go back to my time at the city of Pearsall where we were charged with animal control. It is probably one of the most difficult tasks, and it may sound crazy with all the important things that we have going on in a police department and the sheriff's office, but animal control was really one of the most difficult things that was asked of me and my staff. That being said, we were able to locate the right candidates. We were able to get them trained in not only facility maintenance of the animal control, but also different programs. We made several partnerships with entities that were willing to actually come down and pick up the strays that we were picking up off the street. We really hammered down on trying to get adoptions done. Again, spaying and neutering, like Mr. Cuellar said here. All of those things were put into place. Now, something that I had considered, and I know I've run it by a couple of the higher ups here. I know I've even had conversations with our county judge about seeing if we could maybe partner with the city of Pearsall, city of Dilley, and then creating a county ACO and maybe coming together with all three entities and funding from all three entities and seeing if that's a way that we could possibly try to tackle this issue. Again, I do have experience. It's very difficult. I'm not saying I want to take it over, but I will do it if I have to. And it'll be a good thing. A lot of these animals are innocent animals. They don't deserve the fate that is placed upon them. These are irresponsible owners that sometimes allow this to happen. And so with a soft heart, I don't want to put animals down. We want to try to find them homes and do the most humane thing for them. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now this question is just for Precinct 1, okay? The Derby water situation has plagued the township for years. What are your plans to remediate the situation and provide reliable water source to the residents there? And how would you find the funding?
One of the things I'd like to add on that, firsthand experience on that, my mother, the late Santos Cuellar, used to live out there. And we continually battled problems with the water well going down, it being privately owned and whatnot. The infrastructure of it was not up to standards back in the day. One of the things that would always go down would, motors going down, power issues, holes in the piping and whatnot. It was just not upkept, to the standards. And we got to see that firsthand. Previous commissioners and the previous judge actually did help them with grants and whatnot. And that's all public information. You can look at that they were trying their best to do what they had to do over there with the Derby water wells and whatnot. It's still privately owned, and my understanding is still privately owned, but there's no regulation on that, and who's keeping up with that? There's got to be accountability if you're going to provide a service and also charge for that service. There's got to be accountability there, and right now, currently, there's not, and it's not up to standard. So that's one of the things that I would say that we need to do as a whole is make sure that we monitor that stuff out there. We go in and inspect it ourselves or get accountability records of that it's being upkept. So we don't have to manage these problems at a time of need, like during freezes and whatnot. They're battling the same battles we are, but it's a smaller infrastructure out there that is privately owned. Everything in my power, of course, with the help of the rest of the Commissioners Court and judge, would be focused at trying to get that fixed. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Carrizales, this is just for Precinct 3. The majority of this precinct is in a flood zone. What are your plans to remediate that situation, and how would you find funding?
That's actually a very, very great question. This issue has already been talked about, and there are funds coming. About 2 years ago, I started working with the city of Pearsall and the Nueces River Authority to identify flood areas. Majority of the flood areas are in Precinct 3, not just in the county area, but within city limits. And all of these have been identified, and as I stated earlier, there is a grant coming, roughly 2.8 million that we're going to be getting from the Nueces River Authority, and we are, with all of these drainage studies that we have compiled already, they're enabling us to apply for various other grants. So this situation has been addressed. It hasn't been fixed, but we have started the process to get these issues resolved. So hopefully within the next year or so, we'll start seeing something coming in and being able to fix these issues. So yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Salinas, this is just a sheriff question. What initiatives do you have in mind for youth engagement and crime prevention?
Well, that's actually really near and dear to my heart. It's something that we've been tackling now for several years. Again, going back to the city of Pearsall, we started our drug-free week, our Red Ribbon Week, and different presentations of that matter, different educational opportunities. And for me, the reason for doing that, and it is fun, I'll say it's fun to see all the smiling faces on our youth, but it's to build those relationships with them, with our people. I mean, the people of Frio County when they're young, when they're moldable, and help to see that the police are your friends. You know, that's one of the things we repeat. The police are your friends. Don't forget, you can always count on the police officers. You can always never be afraid to talk to an officer. Never be afraid to tell them what happened or what is happening to you. And it's all about personal safety. And then drug education, of course. You know, we have drug issues like most other communities suffer from, and we want to try to steer them away from that from a young age. And that starts all the way in kindergarten. We have multiple events throughout the year to get this done. Multiple different types of educational material that we budget for yearly, just for those purposes right there. And so it is very near to my heart. And the fact that I have 6 kids total. Me and my wife share 6 kids, and they've all transitioned through Pearsall ISD. I currently have my youngest in the Pearsall Intermediate, and my oldest is in high school. And they all face different issues at different ages, at different campuses, but the education always started so young that I see them now as graduating high school and becoming young adults, and we still have that relationship with us. And many of them have even come to work for me, you know, after they've graduated high school and become law enforcement officers themselves. Very proud of that program.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
So the next one is for both commissioners. We'll start with you, Mr. Carrizales. The question's kind of long. What are your thoughts on the county's salary study? Do you think it's fair that some elected officials received a hefty pay raise while others saw their salary decrease by thousands?
The purpose of the salary pay scale was to get a third-person view on the situation and not have anybody within the county to identify what someone should make. So that was the main purpose of it, and we're still trying to find out if that is something that is going to in fact work for Frio County. Honestly, that's about it. We're still trying to find out if it's something that is in fact going to work for us, and we will be touching on it again this coming budget year. So.
Okay, thank you. Would you like me to repeat it? It's kind of long, sorry. What are your thoughts on the county's salary study? Do you think it's fair that some elected officials received a hefty pay raise while others saw their salary decrease by thousands?
I would say, dealing with this, I know it was a huge topic when it was happening, but as an unbiased person, not having knowledge of all the budgetary needs and everything that's going on with the current Commissioner's Court and judge, I would say that it would be unfair for me to comment and say that that's wrong the way it was done or unfair, But I do have to say that, in my opinion, I have to say that we have to compare the surrounding counties and the studies. I'm sure that's what was taken into place at the surrounding counties and how we rate up to that. If I could piggyback off of the sheriff here or sheriff candidate, Peter Salinas is saying like law enforcement. I know for a fact that we don't have anywhere near the resources that we need here that the surrounding counties are offering, and we're losing personnel to those offices. But that's just one example. But like Commissioner Carrizales mentioned, it's a trial by error, right? They're trying to see what works best for everyone. I'm not going to sit up here and say that's wrong. I wasn't actively involved in that process. I would like to be appointed and with everybody's help, be in that position to revisit that if needed, and revisit that and see if that's not, if we need to make changes or if it's going to last and actually work in our favor for the betterment of everybody. Because we can give the entire county a raise and whatnot, but where's that money coming from? And where are we going to raise it from? So, I mean, you're not going to satisfy everybody with this issue. You will have some people that are upset and some people that just don't see the bigger picture of we need to do what we need to do to keep the local government running and in sync. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the last question, and it's for the sheriff. Candidate, sorry. Recently, both city police departments have experienced trouble with retention. Is this the case at the sheriff's office? What are your plans to provide aid to those departments?
Currently, it is not a problem with the sheriff's office, and I think part of it is speaking to the culture that we developed here at our department, and that's not to disparage the other agencies. I think they just need time to build that, and it is a time type of thing. We do have issues as far as our jail staff, and so I do see their point of view from that aspect. So what I can say is I'd love to sit down with the chiefs and go over some strategies that were successful for me. Again, I'm the former chief of 2 different departments, and this being my now 3rd department as a chief deputy. And so I've been through these things. I have the experience. We found ways to be innovative. We found ways to get good men and women in the door and then do everything in our power to keep them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But retention it's difficult for law enforcement all over the country right now. I mean, not as many people want to become a cop or an officer as they used to. And so when you have some interest, and again, going back to our educational programs, is you got to really foster that and keep that fire lit and get them in the door and explain to them what you want for them, explain what the future holds, give them the best equipment you can give them the best training you can give them, offer them everything that you possibly can so that if they don't stay with you, they're going to progress higher. And now that person is a contact for me to bring services back down to our people here in Frio County. The goal is to build from within. That's a strategy myself and the sheriff have taken. The weekly meetings that we have with our staff speak to that so that we all know what is going on in each of our lives, professionally and even personally. We love each other, and that's something that the sheriff has really instilled upon me. So thank you.
Okay, so now you guys each have 2 minutes to provide closing remarks. Mr. Carrizales, we'll start with you.
Well, to sit up here and say that doing something like this is easy, it's not. But at the same time, thank you, Brianna, for putting this together. And I would like to commend everybody who came out here to participate. Thank you for coming out. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to see us. This experience, being a commissioner, has been a life-changing experience. The knowledge and the experience that I have gained is invaluable to myself, to my family, to the community. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity. It has been a life-changing opportunity. However this election turns out, I'm grateful. So thank you.
Mr. Cuellar?
In closing, I had just like you said, it's not easy. One of the things that you mentioned, Ms. Segura, and I want to thank you also for putting it together and inviting me. I think I was one of the first ones you called. I don't know if it was by alphabetical order or whatnot, but I accepted immediately. I knew exactly what I needed to get done. Since you explained the rules when we got here today, I mean, they were clear and concise. Okay, it's not a debate. We're not to belittle each other and put anybody down, of course. I'm not going to speak about the three individuals to my right that are not here, okay? One of the things that I do want to mention is that if granted the opportunity, I will work hard for this community. I've been doing that with community service, coaching, and offering life skills to young individuals that have become productive adults now. One of the major pushes that I like to emphasize on is my kids, you know, because that's what we all work hard for. My kids have already gone off and become young adults, gone to their schools, and returned right back to our community. Why? Because they like where they grew up at, and they want to do what's right for the community. I want to do what's right for them, and as taxpayers, also them now, my young adult children. I think it's important that, hey, we do the best for everyone, and that's a prime example. Why are we doing it? For our families, for our kids, for our friends, for the elderly people that need the help, that we need somebody that's capable of doing all that stuff. And so I stand positive and ask for your vote of confidence that if you vote for me, I will work as hard as I can to make everything happen. And the good thing is that I can't praise the current commissioners and our current judge right now enough, because I can work with all of them. I see the weight that they are carrying. Precinct 1. I can honestly say that, hey, I'm going to offer the help that you need. And it should be like that for all 4 precincts, and also to alleviate some of that headache for the judge.
Your time is up.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Salinas.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to close by saying law enforcement is what I know. Law enforcement is who I am at this point of my life. As long as I've been doing it, I've been mentored by some great men and women of law enforcement. We have so many contacts over a lifetime of work, as it seems like. When I stand up here and tell you that anybody can try to sell you a bill of goods, they can come up and say, well, if I have an opportunity, I'm going to do this, and I think I can do that, or I want to do this. With me, ladies and gentlemen, over the past 23 years here in Frio County, you've seen what I can do. You've seen the results that surrounding myself by good men and women, hiring the best men and women available to me, has afforded me. And that's a lot of success. That's a lot of good for our people. And it's nothing that I do. It's the fact that men and women are willing to follow me and my command staff. And they're willing to run through a brick wall for the sheriff and I and get the job done for our people, no matter what that may entail. That's what we're here to do. Anyone can say, I promise to do this. With me, you've seen the results. And I'm a proven leader, and my staff is why I'm a proven leader. So I leave you with that, and I thank you. God bless you, and I ask for your vote for your next Frio County Sheriff. Thank you.
I want to thank each and every one of you for attending. I know it's a Sunday. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. Hey, but the Cowboys aren't playing, so it doesn't matter. Just kidding. This is a third forum that our office has hosted. And like Mr. Guayad said, it is a good thing, because you're able to see these candidates up here in a neutral environment, letting you know what their views and takes are on issues, all right? So that's why we do this. And everyone was personally invited. I would like to make that very clear. So I know there are some of you here who would like to campaign. We ask that you do that outside. Like I said, this is a neutral environment. That's why we asked for no shirts, buttons, banners, anything like that inside of here. And again, thank you very much. And thank you to Matthew, because he made it possible to stream this, which is being watched by lots of people. So thank you all again, and thank you all for attending today.